Here we go. Hello, and welcome to the Power of Healing Your Energy show. It's all about your light, your energy, your healing. And did you know depression and anxiety are a side effect of not living your life intuitively, not trusting your gut, the lost connections with self and others? Hello, fellow empaths. I'm Christine with 24 Karat Healing. I'm a spiritual medium, intuitive energy coach, and old soul healer. And this is episode 28, The Power of Meditation. And I have a former monk sharing his story all about Rajan Shankara. He left the world at 19 years old to go to a monastery to become a monk and study his mind, find out what meaning and purpose was, and if meditation could take him to higher states of consciousness. And having lived as a monk for 12 years, he is now back out in society as a world yogi to teach others how to control their mind, body, and emotions. Rajan was trained for 7 years in monastery landscaping, construction, electrical, woodwork, office work, and vehicle maintenance. And then he spent another 5 years in a monastery office learning clerical skills, travel management and coordination, team leadership, editing, writing, publishing, and being part of Hinduism Today International Magazine team of senior monks and managed 16 pages. And he's also currently a meditation guide, award-winning writer, author of 4 books, self-development mentor, online coach, fitness and health expert, and business owner. Hello, Rajan.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me very
Thank you for
much.
having me.
Yes. Now, I just, when I read your bio, 19 years old, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is you're so young. Where were you when you were 19, and how did you make that decision? Like, what transpired for you to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to go and become a monk?
I was in Indiana specifically since I was born in Chicago, and I eventually migrated over to the next state. And I had an asphalt company and was very successful, but I was also extremely unhappy and realized at the age of 19 that money doesn't make you happy as a
Mm.
foundation. If all you're depending on is uh, money to draw forth motivation and inspiration in your life, it will eventually fade away, and you will be left wondering um, what's going on in the world, because it's essentially selfish. I was living a selfish life, and my unhappiness with my life and kind of brought out these deep questions, I guess. Um, why do I exist? Why am I here? What am I doing? What's the point? And so, my business partner and friend gave me Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa
Mm.
Yogananda, very famous book. I'm sure you've heard of it,
Yes.
and maybe you've
Mm-hmm.
read it. A
Not
lot of
yet.
people, yeah, a lot of people have read it, and it hasn't really, they close the book and then start the next one. But when I finished that book, I decided that I was to go off into the jungle and see if meditation was real. And so I gave my business away to a friend who needed it, and I did. I left the mainland and went to the jungle of Hawaii.
Hawaii. Okay. Were you, now I know that there's different islands in Hawaii.
I
What?
was on the smallest island of Kauai.
Oh, Kauai. Okay. All right. And were you, did you just find a place, or how did that work?
Well, my sister said she would go with me because she had lived on Kauai before. She lived
Mm-hmm.
in the jungle, and when she was my age, she went on my sisters did what I did. They went on a soul searching journey and traveled the world and things like that. So she said, I'll go with you and I'll stay for a month and I'll show you how to survive on the island. And She did in fact come with me and show me how to get coconuts from trees and where bananas were and things like that. And we stayed in remote spots around the perimeter of the island, um, 3 days at a time, and
Mm-hmm.
we were just meditating and talking philosophy and talking about life and things like that. It was an amazing period of my life. And it's funny, one of my biggest fears as a child was homelessness. I never wanted to be homeless, and in fact, diving into homelessness was one of the best things I'd ever done. And I knew the monastery was there, but it was in the back of my mind. And towards the end of the month, my
Four
sister,
books, self-development. Go
uh,
ahead.
my sister recommended that I go check it out because she probably didn't trust my survival skills. So she would feel better if I could go and get training inside of a monastery. So uh, I ended up going on a tour and asking about training and this and that, and was denied. So I went back to our uh, campsite and told her that I was denied. She recommended that I call home, and so I did. I called my mom, um, and my mom is a very spiritual person. She's a Wiccan high priestess, so
Mm-hmm.
she trained me in meditation and understanding nature and um, kind of the laws of the universe. That the universe was a part of my consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
and so thanks to mom for that. And so I said, "Mom, they denied me. It doesn't look like I'm going to be in the monastery, but that's fine. I'll be in the jungle." And unfortunately, never talk to anyone again. And I'll see you later. And so she said to go back, and that they were testing me.
Yeah.
And so, sure enough, I went back and every day, and I was invited to have tea with one of the senior monks. And after about 4 or 5 days of having tea, I called my mom and caught her up to speed and everything. And she said to ask them if I could do work and to make their mission my mission. And she
Mm.
said to not go about it selfishly and just say what I wanted, but to actually, uh, if I made their mission my mission, then they might reconsider their decision. So I went back the next day and I asked if I could. I asked the senior monk if I could work and stay after tea, and he had me go out into the forest near his office and pick up sticks on one end and put them on the other end. And then when I finished making a
Okay.
pile of all the sticks on the floor of the forest, I had to take that pile and move it back to the other side of the forest. So I did that every day for about an hour a day, and someone would come out and tell me to go. And then one day, after I was finished picking up sticks, after about 4 or 5 days of that, they said I could stay for a 6 month training, and that turned into 12 years.
Wow. Wow. So that was a big test of the ego
Yes,
to say, you
exactly.
know what? Why am I picking up? I actually, when you're describing, I could see you doing it, and I'm like, that took a lot. Most people would say, "What the heck," right? And
Right.
walk away.
Right.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. What a story. Um, they obviously saw something. So, and yeah, it was a test, just like life. It's a
I asked
series of tests.
I asked my guru like maybe 8 years later why they let me in, because you're not supposed to come in that way. That I was the last person that they actually invited in that way, and now it's quite a challenge to get in. You have to do about 6 months of um, testing and things like that. Uh, And he said, well, I was expecting him to say some grand mystical answer, and he said, you already had a shaved head, so it worked out.
Oh, jeez. You fit the crowd. Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, I'm just going to say hello. Lynn is joining us. She's saying hello. And thanks, Lynn, for joining. And remember to share this out, guys. And Liz as well. She's saying that's tenacity. Yeah, very persistent. Amazing, amazing. So, did you stay there for 12 years? You didn't go anywhere else?
The monks traveled around the world, but the headquarters is in Kauai, Hawaii.
Kauai,
So
Hawaii.
I did
I actually
travel.
have a okay, okay. Where I guess, and you seem to have ties to, is it India? Is that
We did spend time in India. I went there in 2009, and um, we stayed in South India. And every monk ends up in India for a little while.
hmm and why is that? I guess for to someone that has no idea what that means.
Sure, our lineage of monks is goes back over 2,000 years to India and Sri Lanka.
Okay. And so would you say that's like the hub? I guess, if someone is looking for spiritual knowledge, spiritual awakening, spiritual learning, would you recommend that?
In India,
Yes.
that's a good question. Uh, I don't think so. I don't think most people can navigate India appropriately and understand what's going on. I think it could be a little dangerous too. Um, I was lucky because I got to go with another monk who spoke several different languages and who could navigate. But if I didn't go there as a monk, um, I think it would have been a much different experience. And I think if someone were to want to pilgrimage to a holy place and find themselves, uh, I'd recommend going somewhere where they could be alone.
Yeah.
Anywhere,
No,
anywhere.
anywhere. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Um, well, because I guess folks get the idea in their head that, this is the spiritual hotbed or of awakening and enlightenment. And I used to think that way before I, started my journey in 2018. So, but now I know it's within. It's right here.
did you
Um,
go anywhere as a pilgrimage? Have you?
Mainly to the mountains. That tends to be my spot, or the ocean. Anywhere that there's a big body of water,
Mhm.
um, and that could be my bathtub as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, or walking barefoot outside. Connecting to nature as well. That's a huge one. You mentioned that your mom had trained you in regards to the meditation and the nature piece. What was that experience like?
Okay, so ever since I was a child, my mom has had a covenant, and she's
Mm,
always had students and in the Wiccan religion, well, the Wiccan faith, and she's always held events and circles and worship ceremonies in our home.
hmm
And I guess having a temple inside your home since a young age has an impact on you. And I think early on I would show interest, and so she uh, would train me to sit and meditate while they did their work, and um, did their cornering and things like that. And
hmm
um, to this day, I don't know the Wiccan faith that well, because of its extreme complexity.
Yes.
but she would share the most important pieces that she thought she needed to in order for me to have a well-rounded education in both spiritualism and um, I guess just normal uh, intellect and understanding of the laws of life. And
Hmm.
so she, I think she did a really good job at that.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Mom. Right. Patty is saying hello. So hello to Patty. Thank you for joining and thank you for sharing as well. Much appreciated. And let us know if you have any questions for us, but I mean mainly for my guest. If you want to learn about meditation, I guess what is the biggest I guess, what did you learn the most about meditation? I guess what would be, 'cause, I have people that come to me and say, I don't know how to meditate. I don't know where to start. What would be your, I guess, do you have a few tips?
Hmm. Well, what is the biggest thing I learned about meditation? Um, that's a really good question. I think I learned that our own desire to be liberated is our possibly our biggest barrier to actually succeeding in meditation. And
Mm.
as the yogi sits there and tries to meditate, if they have a desire towards something, if they think that they want something from meditation, that in and of itself will cause an issue because it's usually when we let go of everything, even desires to be successful in meditation,
Mm.
that we have the upper hand and start to um, have the ability to control our minds much better and our emotions. Because meditation is not about getting anything, it's actually about losing everything and then seeing what's underneath everything, seeing what's already there. Um, if I were to have a few tips, I would say, of course, you don't have to meditate on the floor. Um, but I don't recommend laying down. I think that that's excellent for relaxation. But in terms of um, actually moving Kundalini, I
Mm.
recommend sitting upright so that the
Okay.
spine has a chance to have a certain orientation.
And I mean, I'm somewhat familiar with Kundalini. What is Kundalini? Because you hear the terms and then it's attached to yoga as well. What to you, what does Kundalini mean?
Kundalini is the life force flowing through your body,
Mm.
and it is your own energy.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So
And
if you,
go ahead.
essentially what we have to do in meditation is um, awakening kundalini simply means linking back up with what you really are. And
Mhm.
we're out here, our awareness is outward.
Yeah.
So we shut everything off out here and turn inward for the first time in our life. And once we can get past the pains and aches of the body, and when we can get past our own mind and the traumas and unresolved experiences in our history, then what happens is we link back up with spirit, and that takes a certain amount of energy, that takes a certain amount of will, and our awareness is usually caught somewhere, our awareness is usually caught somewhere in the belly, in the
Yes.
manipura chakra. And so the more we raise consciousness, it's basically the more the Kundalini is raising in awareness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I work with chakras as well, so I exactly know what you mean. And that it's the light. However you see that light, it's already there, and you can work with it. I see the upper three. I see things a little differently, but Kundalini, I get it. It's all within. We're all light. We're all energy, and that's why I do this show. Because once we get that energy piece, we get us, we get our light. It's like a light switch, just boom.
Yeah.
And you cannot turn it off once it's lit up. I think that's why a lot of folks that are starting a spiritual journey or opening, awakening, whatever you want to call it, have a lot of symptoms at the beginning, and then there's fear. They don't want to continue because it's scary. I get it, but just
Yes, it is.
and it's a routine. I also see it as a routine because I'm very important for mental health to have a daily practice. And I'm going to guess you have a daily practice.
Oh yes, yes. The monks trained us in. So it was a militaristic organization. It was very regimented and
Mm.
disciplined, and we had we started roll at 5:30 in the temple, uh, but most of us were up by 4, doing yoga and meditation from 6 to 7. Work from 8 to 12, cleaning till lunch, which was at 1:08, and then training in the gym until 3 o'clock, and back to work at 6, and training from 6 to 7, and then lights out at 9. So uh, if you don't have a routine, in the beginning at least, uh, you won't be able to withstand the tyranny of your own ego.
Mm. Yeah, that's important because
That makes
ego.
sense.
It totally does. Ego likes to control everything and wants you scattered, I guess, and distracted. That's the word I was looking for. Distracted. So if you have I call it a self-love, self-care routine, and it takes practice, and you have to do it every day, and you have to show up every day. And I notice if it's how they say, did you get out of bed on the wrong side of the bed? It's the same idea. It really starts my day. I don't want to say perfectly because there is no such thing, but it's with intention, I guess. That's what I'm looking for. So
Yeah,
you
intention, that's a good word.
intention, and I honestly I feel that is why we're here. It's not about goals. It's not about making money. It's the intention for connection. Oh, it just came to me. Intention for connection. Okay, that's going to be a post somewhere.
Write that down.
Yes, write that down. And it looks like you publish articles through the Elephant Journal as well. I took a quick look, and I think one that I was quite drawn to was the Dark Night of the Soul. I've heard that bit. I actually follow Michael Murdad. I don't know if you know who he is, but he wrote a book about the Dark Night of the
I
Soul,
don't.
and that's all about spiritual awakening. Is it not? I mean, how do you see the Dark Night of the Soul?
The dark night of the soul, also known as the death of the ego, is a painful spiritual process where our ego realizes when it's losing control over your awareness, and when the host, I guess the soul, begins to take control over its own life, the ego fights back,
Mm.
and that's a very painful experience. And I believe the transitioning of our higher nature with over ego is um, can be explained as the dark night.
Yeah,
It,
and
it can take months or years to get over.
definitely. And I think people see ego as the enemy.
Hmm.
I maybe at first, but until you learn to work with it, just like anything else, that's why a lot of us are blocked intuitively because it sits here in the third eye. That's how I see it. Now it's here because we have dark and light. That's who we are.
Hmm.
And many times, at least for my life, and maybe you might resonate with this, it led my life the dark, and now it's the other way around.
Yes,
So,
we don't completely get rid of ego, right? Everything is ego. We need
mm,
ego, but once we understand that it is everything, and we have some sense of who we really are, and that we're not it, and we regain our identity back as this new spiritual person, as this soul,
mm,
then everything becomes quite easy to manage, and ego becomes an effective tool that eventually just helps you stay alive and live an effective life on Earth.
mm. Well, exactly. I also see it in relation to the solar plexus as well. That's like your I am. You step into who you are. It's your power center. Um,
Yeah.
Instead of it sitting here, it's it's kind of the bridge between the bottom three chakras, the heart, and the top three. That's how I that's how I associate it.
Well, that's interesting. That's
Yeah.
fascinating.
And then they say as well there's blocks. You have blocks. I see it more as gaps in your energy, especially if you're not aware of your energy. And empaths or sensitive folks leak that. So once they figure it out, which I did, I didn't realize I was doing that. I was feeding narcissists, I guess would be the word.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so that's an important correlation. But Good Men Project, what's that about?
I wrote for Good Men Project for almost maybe 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I had a weekly column, maybe not quite 6 months. So I was writing for 5 online journals recently, and
Wow.
before I kind of withdrew and started to put more focus on my own blog. Uh,
Mm.
and yeah, Good Men Project, Medium, uh, Shivana East, and Elephant Journal are all online journals that will take a writer in and publish their work. So um, that was one of the outlets that I used to write for.
Yeah, writing. I love writing, but I know what you mean. Is that why you pulled back? Because after a while, it feels like you're being pulled in too many different directions.
Yeah,
Or,
yeah,
yeah, I get it. And if you love to write like I do, like you do, it's important. You don't want to feel like it's mundane, I guess would be the word.
right. Yeah, I had to produce
Right.
something every week, and
Mm,
I just I realized I was it's probably better to start there and get your name out, but then after you get rolling a bit, to focus more on your own individual outlets that help
yes.
support you.
Yeah. So, what are you doing right now? Are you working with clients? Are you doing groups, seminars? What are you doing right now?
Right now, I'm working with individual clients in their home.
Okay.
I also do online training with people around the world, and
Mm,
I tend to lecture on Facebook to people's private groups. Um,
okay.
and right now, for some reason, there's a big pull in the UK. So I have a big following out there, more than the US. And in the US, it's mostly in California.
Okay.
So I've actually been recently been offered a career opportunity in California. So I think I'm going to relocate from Colorado to San Jose. Uh,
Oh, wow. That's a big transition,
yes, yeah. I have about
but exciting.
yeah, it is exciting. When I first got out, September 2018 of the monastery, I went to Denver, but most of my students were in California, and a friend of mine
Hmm.
helped me kind of get started and get my name out there. And he's in California, and it makes sense. Everyone's kind of wondering why I'm still in Colorado. So um, it was kind of scary, I think about the jump to go to
Hmm.
California, but my friend just kind of said, it's I'd like you to come out here and work together with me.
Oh, and that's beautiful. You have support. That's amazing.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And I hope to start writing another book once I get this last one out there.
Nice. And where can we find your books?
I am going to self-publish this last one, number 4, and it's in the hands of my friend, who's a book designer, and then once she is finished, I am going to just put it on Amazon.
Yeah, I know quite a few people that do that, and they're finding great success. I mean, just to have it out there and people are reading it, really, that at the end of the day, that's most important, right?
Hmm.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What's your fourth book about?
It's called Everything Is Your Fault, and
Oh,
it is.
nice.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I hear responsibility in this, but go ahead.
Yes, it's about how it's the main things that I learned as I went from this 19-year-old boy in the monastery to a man,
Mm,
um, and uh, learning how to work with other people, um, and taking responsibility and ownership, and using that philosophy to basically help me work with other people much better and become effective and um, powerful in making a group mission work as efficiently as possible. And so yeah, it's about taking leadership of your life, by using ownership and responsibility, and trying to make things your fault as much as you can, so that you actually have the power to change something. Now it's a bit nuanced, because it's not that, the things, for example, a lot of people have issues with their parents, and
mm,
their parents hurt them in some way, because parents are not perfect. They're just having kids and trying to do their best. But
that's right.
a lot of people get damaged along the way. It's not necessarily your fault, but if you live inside your past traumas,
Mm,
and live inside grudges and resentment, or wishing that something is different,
yeah.
and it is your fault that you haven't moved on and been able to change things.
Mm,
So you don't have to let anyone else hurt you years after the fact, like having a poison run through your vein.
that's right. You don't die from the snake bite, you die from the poison.
Exactly, exactly. So
Mm,
the book is hoping to uh, help some people who are giving their attackers the power instead of taking it back for their own selves.
exactly. I love that. I love that. And no more victim mentality and no more finger pointing and get out of that blame and shame game, I guess
Exactly.
is, yeah, because it's like you're chasing your tail like a dog, just around and round you go. And I guess what was I'm going to have to put the links in for your books, if you can maybe leave it in the comments if people would like to read them.
The previous books
Yes.
are actually those were written for groups.
Okay.
So those weren't actually published for the public.
Hmm.
People have asked that I publish them, and so I'm thinking about it.
Okay. Well, we'll wait for when your fourth book comes out there and it's ready to go, and we'll make sure we share that out because I'd be interested in reading it. I mean, it's kind of cheeky, a tongue in cheek in a way. I like that. It doesn't it doesn't make you feel defensive. You're like curious, like, what do you mean? But kind of laughing at the same time because you know what he means.
Exactly.
Uh, yes. So at the beginning of the show, before we started, I asked you to think about what the dream. We had the dream talk. So I'm not sure if you're ready, if you had a chance to think about it, but I'm going to be asking you, what is your dream and how can we collectively make it happen?
So my dream is to continue being a philosopher, except instead of for people that already understand what I'm talking about, I want my work to go to people who have never heard it before. And
Mm,
the look on a client's face when they find out they don't have to be stressed out anymore, or
mm,
they don't even have to entertain the idea of being hurt anymore, and that they can move on. It's one of the best things that I'm sure you've seen before in your own work.
yes.
Um, it's to see someone liberated from their own shackles is
Mm,
what wakes me up in the morning, and especially young minds. In the monastery, I excelled at working with young people on their purpose and mission in life, and um, what their meaning is supposed to be. That's really where some of my specialties are. I've mentored over 500 people now, and I would like to keep doing that on some sort of small and intimate scale. The way that everyone can help with that is basically to I think everyone as an individual can help
mm,
the group by living the best they can, and being a light in the world instead of someone who blames, someone who complains about things. But if you yourself are an effective, powerful, you know, machine, if you're walking around producing smiles instead of frowning, and just listening to people, then the world would be a much different place.
yeah. Come from compassion.
Yeah.
Empathy, compassion, grace, gratitude, curiosity, like finding out about someone before making a judgment.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
And I wake up the same way. That's why I get up in the morning. How may I serve? That is pretty much the first thing I start with. Beautiful. So we're gonna make sure we're gonna follow along on your journey and see how we can support you and support each other. Um, and it looks like you've also done you're obviously online coach, fitness, health expert, and then you say a business owner. Do you have multiple businesses, or was this something that was when you were 19, or are you considering what you're doing right now your business? I'm curious because some people have multiple businesses.
Right now, I help my girlfriend with her coconut water company, so we both kind of
Oh, nice.
team up, and um, we're in 6 states right now, and we're hoping to go nationwide sometime this year.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. Love coconut water. It's very good for you.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
love coconuts, period. I just, yeah. Well, and good luck with that as well. Now, is there anything else you'd like to share with us? I'd like to wrap this up. I also want to let people know, if you're on the replay, please let us know. Please comment, ask questions. Both Rajan and I will interact and get back to you. And if this resonated, please share this with your friends and family. All right. So is there anything else you'd like to know? Do you have any upcoming courses or events? Or I'm going to leave your links below as well. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
If you Google my name, I'm the only thing that comes up. And so my website has a contact form, which goes directly to my email. In February, which is in a few days, I'm doing a 30-day meditation workshop.
Okay.
And people can sign up for that they can find the sign up at my website. And
Nice.
I make online courses and lectures. So if anyone is interested in the Eastern philosophy in a university style lecture course, those are available at courses.rajanshankara.com. Also can be found on my main website, rajanshankara.com. And those are some things that I've spent a long time developing, and I'm really proud of.
Very nice. I know what you mean. I'm actually working on a few courses myself. I've got one coming up February 20th. So this is a big deal. And
Oh,
it's
wonderful.
Yeah. So, yeah, great. I will make sure I leave all the links. I did leave it in the original post, but I'll put them in the comments. And hey, guys, definitely reach out if you have any questions about meditation, higher states of consciousness. If you're having any issues, if you're struggling in your life with ego, even mental health, please reach out as well. We're always here. And thank you again, Rajan. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
And I want to wish everyone love, light, and blessings. And please remember, healing begins where the ego ends. Take care.
Hello, fellow empaths, and welcome to the Power of Healing Your Energy, a show that is all about your light, your energy, and your healing. Depression and anxiety are a side effect of not living your life intuitively, not trusting your gut, and the lost connections with self and others. And each week we have a guest or a subject, and we seek to know more, diving in at a deep soul level, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because that is how you are going to heal at a 360-degree level. So please join us, share with your friends, leave me a message. I welcome all feedback. And please remember, healing begins where the ego ends.